All right, y'all. So I was able to get Steve as well. Thanks for waiting for me, man.
No worries, man.
Steve is a guy who I've only known on Instagram, honestly, following his career through Redz, obviously, and everybody else up in. Are you from Toronto?
Yep,
as well?
from Toronto, born and raised.
So
there.
everyone else from Toronto, the Soundbox team, and everybody up
all
there.
those guys.
So yeah, it's good to meet you.
Likewise.
In person, finally,
Pleasure to
Steve.
meet, yeah.
It's great. So Steve, talk to us about the legendary Marley Brothers tour and what you're doing on this tour.
Well, it certainly is a legendary tour. You know, they call it the Legacy Tour, and it is that. It's keeping Bob's legacy alive and the music and what he's been able to do for everybody through his music and reaching a bunch of people. So it's really quite something special to be a part of.
Yeah.
The shows are fantastic. I mean, the brothers just put on an incredible performance every day.
Yeah.
My role in it is basically mixing the wedges and the side fills for the brothers themselves. So basically the downstage line, which is a deceptively difficult gig, or deceptively tricky gig, I guess I would say.
Yep.
You know, you might think it's just left and right side fill, downstage wedges, and then just a little percussion wedge over there. You got a little percussion station. It's like, oh, that's, you know, only 4 mixes, really.
Piece of cake, right?
You know, but I mean, they just want the side fills are just absolutely pumping. It's basically a front of house mix, concert level up there.
Yes.
And then of course the vocals coming out of the wedges have to get on top of that. So there's all 5 of them, and they're ripping loud.
Wow.
So you know, it's less about flying around all these different mixes and making sure everybody's happy, and more about just getting the cleanest, feedback-free sound too, which is the real tricky part.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting challenge. I love it. You know, most of my day-to-day, I'm out front as a system engineer.
Okay.
So to then bring some of that experience and knowledge into this gig, I can use some of those tricks and some of that experience that I have there on the monitor side to basically get, you know, a good concert level front of house going on the stage.
On stage, wow.
Yeah.
And how does that affect the front of house mixer? Do you have those conversations with him?
We do, and I often just ignore them.
Good answer.
I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, of course I want to be a team player and help out, you know, my front of house compatriot as much as possible, but if, you know, I start turning it down a little bit on my master, and the brothers look at me going,
oh, okay,
side fill. I'm like, well,
yeah.
I don't really have much of a choice. So.
Well, that's a great conversation to start with.
Yeah.
So I noticed, so are you traveling or touring with not only the front of house PA, but I noticed that your side fills are D&B, J series, I think they're the 8s?
Yeah, J8s on top and J subs on the bottom. Yeah.
So, and then right behind you is your reference for your side fill, which is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It's overkill.
So it's 2 8s and a sub, is that right?
2 V8s and a V sub per side. So I've got stereo
There's
Q
one
wedge
behind me, guys. Oh my goodness.
Everybody seems to think it's a DJ gig when this rolls out. But,
unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. This is crazy.
I don't think I have either. I think this might have been Redd's idea, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Great idea, though.
But he sort of put it together, and he's like, yeah, we'll get, you know, some Texas headphones out for the monitor position. I'm like, you don't need that. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Let's try it in rehearsal and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then we tried it in rehearsal, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. Like, I can hear exactly what's going on with the side fill mix in here at the monitor position. And I've also got a Q wedge.
You got a wedge somewhere?
Of course, as you
there it is.
naturally would.
Of course.
So then I can hear literally everything that's going on exactly the same as it is.
So you're exclusively on wedges and fills. You're not using any ears at all?
No ears at all.
No one's talking to you during the show or needs to talk to you?
I mean, I've got a shout box just so if any really, really important conversations on the technical side need to happen. But no musicians, no artists are talking to me, other than, you know, the usual visual and hand signals you have.
Gotcha.
That happens. Turn me up.
Interesting. All right, cool. So take us through a little bit of what you're using for this particular tour and how you're using it.
Yeah, for sure. My setup is pretty straightforward and simple. I know Redz has his whole wave setup over there. He's got the clang, obviously. Little pieces outboard for Damien's mic. I'm basically doing everything in the desk.
Okay.
All my processing, save for, I've got 4 of the 5045 hardware units.
Okay, you do as well. All right. Is it in the same rack?
It's in the same rack, okay. And again, that just helps clean up the bleed, cut down on any little rings that want to take off. It just sort of suppresses them once they back off the mic. Really, really helps my day a lot. But other than that, everything is in the desk. No waves, no Fourier, no UAD, anything like that. And basically the way I'm using the desk and the way I've got it set up, as you can see here, I've got a bunch of stereo groups. Instead of, you know, normally in monitor world, or not necessarily normally, but a pretty standard approach would be to have your mixes be all post fader.
Correct.
That way you can just slam your faders down if anything goes horribly wrong. I'm actually mixing very front of house style channel faders into groups, into a master bus, and the master bus goes to the side fills.
Okay.
And then I'm using the downstage and percussion wedges on pre-fader sends.
Okay.
Because then that allows me to be a lot quicker with any moves I need to make in the side fill mix.
Yeah.
The downstage mix is fairly static.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That's why you have to be pre-fader. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool.
And other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You know, just graphic EQs on my wedge sends. You know, some group compression and group EQ on the various band buses, and that's about it, really. You know, nothing too crazy.
All right, nice. Yeah. So let's talk about challenges with talent, habits. You know, dropping their hands, and you know, things like that.
All of that.
Things that you usually see in monitor world. Have you had any challenges?
Of course.
Getting too close to the side fills.
Yeah, I mean, at this point now, we've been touring long enough that I've got it pretty well wrung out. You know, there's very few things flying out of the blue. Yeah. But, you know, it does happen occasionally. You know, somebody will stand right in front of a wedge and drop their mic, and it just catches that little bit of feedback. But again, because the 5045s are on it, that really helps to reduce that. Because as soon as they back away from the mic, that'll close or, you know, expand that dynamic range back downwards. So it's not like it's just a wide open mic all the time that they're swinging in front of wedges. So that's been a big help there. And really, you know, just sort of gentle reminders every so often, you know, hey, don't, if you're over by the percussion station and the mic's in your pocket, you know, maybe something might ring out because I can't really see you over there. So just things like that. But, you know, they've been pretty good about it after they, of course, you know, I sort of give them a gentle reminder, a not so gentle reminder sometimes when they do drop the mic and feedback. So, you know.
I think one thing I want to, it's not really a question, but I wanted to state this a little bit, and that's talking about, you know, as an engineer, your people skills and dealing with different personalities and things like that, and, you know, coming into a tour like this or jumping into another tour and you're dealing with different personalities over there. Do you believe that that's like, you know, an important skill to have?
Absolutely.
Apart from obviously the technical skills.
Yeah, of course. Especially when you're in, you know, because like I said, I do sort of both sides of things where I will work as an engineer, but also will work on the tech side as, you know, a system engineer or a monitor tech or something. And when you're on the engineer side, the people skills are almost as important as the technical abilities, because you're dealing and interfacing one-on-one with the principal artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Artist or artists, depending on the act.
Right.
And so your ability, you know, I think the biggest plus is an ability to maintain calm and composure. So if something is going wrong and they look over at you, you're not pulling your hair out and running around like a crazy person. Just, you know, be a calming presence, be, you know, steady, stoic, and, you know, just reassure them that everything's going to be fine. And then obviously, you know, being personable and respectful of them, and then that usually gets reciprocated back to you as well. Do they usually give you post-show notes or anything like that? I mean, I know you're pretty much more than halfway through well more.
The tour.
95%
almost at the end, right? Does that happen often, or do you have incentives that you would like to share with them usually?
Haven't had too many post-show notes. Like, we won't necessarily have like a post-show sit-down or something, because they obviously like to go off and, you know, meet fans and VIPs or family that's visiting, whatever. But usually those notes would come in the next day at sound check. You know, it may be a little like, I didn't like the way my mic sounded. It was a little honky or something. You know, or again, just I want more of myself. It's just always the common note.
Of course.
But yeah, usually it would be, you know, they'll come in the next day for sound check and be like, last night it sounded this way or that way or something, and, you know, hey, can we fix that? Sure, we'll do whatever you like. So.
Very nice. Okay. Well, Steve, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Man. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the show tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yes, sir.